Hi, my name's Julie Casey and I'm an educational psychologist in Torine with a particular interest in the health and wellbeing area of learning and experience and in the whole school approach to embedding the framework for mental health and wellbeing. This is the sixth and final collection of videos in a series of collections, and in each of them we're aiming to share some practical ideas and activities from the SEAL and SEAL Cymru materials. SEAL stands for Social and Emotional Aspects of Learning, put together with ideas from practitioners and from a range of other sources. So what we're going to do in these videos is to look at how they can help you to deliver the health and wellbeing area of learning and experience and to put into practice the whole school approach statutory framework in Wales. The activities and suggestions in this session are based on the SEAL theme changes, which is aimed at primary schools, and a range of activities addressing changes and how to manage it throughout the secondary school materials. And we'll give you more information later on at the end of the final video in this collection, but you can download all of the SEAL materials for free, and that's in English or in Welsh medium. And the website is shown on this slide, www.sealcommunity.org. And all you need to do is register on the site. It's quick and it's free. And you may be a member already, in which case you just go and search for the relevant materials. The work described in this collection, as with all of the SEAL themes that we've recorded collections of videos for, is intended to be universal. So it's for all children across the age range. It's the first level, if you like, in a graduated provision map. And one of the caveats that we want to raise, which is really important to bear in mind, is that although change is difficult for all of us at times, it's really, really important to recognise that it's even harder for some children. So in particular, those children who are on the autistic spectrum, but also for those children who've experienced multiple ACEs, so the adverse childhood experiences, attachment or trauma-related difficulties, because those children are likely to have specific difficulties in key areas such as being able to feel safe, building relationships of trust, and that's both with adults and peers, feeling good about themselves, their kind of level of self-concept and self-esteem, regulating their emotions and so on. All of these things are problematic areas. And of course, unfortunately, they're pretty much the key attributes and skills that are needed for coping effectively with change. So it's likely that many of these children will fall into the group who'll need support in addition to the universal health and wellbeing or social and emotional learning curriculum. So these levels where children need additional support, they're met in SEAL through the small group materials, and I'll say a little bit more about those in just a moment. The other thing I think it's really important to note is that it's not just what we teach formally through the curriculum. For these children in particular, it's really important that settings make sure that their health and wellbeing work links to that whole school approach, and that whole school approach is trauma informed and attachment aware. So having said all that, what we do look at in this collection of videos, the universal provision, their ideas around the nature of change and its impact, how it affects our feelings, our thoughts and our behaviour, strategies we look at for managing change, for making change happen. That's really important, that kind of feeling of taking control and self-efficacy. Then specifically the materials look at the big change, which is moving on to secondary school. So at year 6, that is the focus. And then we look at the hardest change, if you like, of all, which is we look at the area of loss and bereavement. Now, loss and bereavement actually falls within the previous theme, which is relationships, but we felt that for the purposes of the videos, it followed on so well from looking at kind of change that we'd pop the video in this collection. But of course, you can use it wherever it fits for your needs and context. The special focus for each of our collections, we have a sort of special focus, and the special focus for this collection is small group work. So the SEAL and the SEAL Cymru materials provide a set of activities to use with smaller groups who have additional needs in particular areas of social and emotional learning. You can sort of see where they fall looking at the pyramid on this slide. It's that central section. So you've got your universal provision at the bottom there of the pyramid, and then your small group work on top. And you'll find, again on the website, all on the website, there's a set of materials to accompany every theme for Key Stage 1 and a set for Key Stage 2 that covers the first 4 of the themes. And there are a range of small group work materials at secondary levels too. So they're very much worth exploring. And you can find all of those just by going to look for small group materials on the website. One thing I think is probably worth drawing your attention to is even if you don't use the small group materials or even SEAL as it stands, it's really, really worth having a look at one of the silver set materials or the Key Stage 2 materials, because they have excellent guidance for setting up and running small group work in this area. It's the best kind of guidance that I've come across in terms of kind of setting up safe social and emotional learning groups, and lots of really good ideas, and kind of all the paperwork and how to do it and so on is in there. So really worth a look at that. And finally, it's worth saying that the small group element of the SEAL materials have been positively evaluated by the government, and you can download the report to see what the kind of gains were. The link is on the PowerPoint there, or you can just search the website, whichever is easiest for you. This is a lovely little example, I think, of one of the activities that was developed in Bradford for use in the small group work on changes in their schools. And this activity is looking at Zotty the puppet, makes the connection between Zotty's feelings and her thoughts and her behaviour. And this itself links into the Feelings Detective poster, which is a whole school resource that's available as part of the SEAL materials, and it's been introduced in other videos, so I won't talk about it here, but there's a link there that links that and the feelings, thoughts and behaviours to facing a situation that is a change, or facing a change that could be could feel challenging. So overall, the small group activities, they have the same learning outcomes as the activities in the universal provision, but they tend to differentiate these into kind of smaller steps using more concrete examples and activities with more reinforcement. And what we have found, and what the evaluation brought out, was how such a group supported our shy children or those who struggle to share time and resources in the larger class group, providing a kind of safe, nurturing approach with a higher adult ratio. One of the ways that the small group materials are used very successfully in schools is where those who attend the small groups can do this before the classwork takes place, and then go back to do the classwork, having this kind of background of knowledge that they've already accessed in their small group work, and appearing to be the experts and to help other children. And that's a situation that some of these children aren't often in, so that's quite a good one to use. Just a quick recap on how this topic and the activities we look at link into the Welsh context in particular. The key themes identified in the whole school approach of statutory framework are belonging, efficacy and having your voice heard. And this theme actually develops all three of these themes and their impact on our emotional and mental well-being. The importance of health and well-being at times of change is recognised as important in the thematic report Healthy and Happy, and in the Welsh Healthy Schools scheme. We will look at the specific links to the AOLE, or the Areas of Learning and Experience, progression steps as we go through each section. Right, I'm going to talk through this slide. It's a little bit longer than the others, but it's really just a kind of introduction to how the structure really of the thing. So when you download the SEAL resources, you'll see there are booklets for different ages. So in Wales, there's the foundation phase, which is blue. There's year 3 and 4 materials, which are yellow, and year 5 and 6 green. They refer to the cover, if you like, of the booklet itself. In the English version, we have the red set, which covers nursery and reception, and the blue set, which covers year 1 and year 2. The same learning outcomes are covered at each stage, but of course, you will know from your health and wellbeing work that it's not enough to learn something once in this area. We have to revisit the same topic at different stages. So with changes, it's quite easy to see that the kind of skills, knowledge and understanding that children will need at age 5 are fairly different from those that they need to negotiate the tricky changes of adolescence and all the emotions that are associated with them. So we revisit those learning outcomes at regular intervals in what we refer to as the spiral curriculum. Within each booklet, in the primary and secondary, there are different types of activities. Some of them are school and classroom, whole school, some of them are classroom based. So for example, we have whole school tools. We looked at some of those in other video collections. Whole school assembly for primary, which kind of sets the scenes, introduces the key ideas, both to the children, but also to the adults in the school. And sometimes some schools introduce them to parents at the same time, which works particularly effectively. And a whole school focus for noticing and rewarding. So this is the poster here you can see that asks everybody in the school community to help us to catch children or adults who are showing, if you like, or demonstrating the target behaviours or skills. So something like dealing well with an unexpected change. And everybody in the school tries to catch the children or adults doing this. So it's a really good kind of joint focus for attention. And lots of schools reward these kind of behaviours in the Friday reward assembly, or with raffle tickets or merit points, or whatever the school, whatever systems the school uses. In terms of the explicit class sections, there are starters and warm-ups appropriate to the age of the booklet that you're using, circle games, rounds, and then the activities, which are called learning opportunities in SEAL. I've mentioned just now that the curriculum work, the class curriculum work, is backed up by these small group materials, which look at the same learning outcomes but give children more opportunities to develop the skills. In addition to this curriculum work, we provide opportunities for reinforcement, because we know, don't we, with in the field of health and well-being and social and emotional learning, it's the 80% of the learning comes through reinforcement in the environment, in the school environment. So things like the modelling of the skills by adults in the school, by all teachers, and this is primary and secondary, applying and drawing attention to these skills in their particular whatever you're learning. So whether it's maths or PE or drama, you look at and recognise the application of the skills and point them out when they arise. So in these collections and booklets, we have tried to include lots of ways to kind of keep the learning alive, really, applying it across the school day and beyond. So we'll look at some examples from the original materials, as well as examples that teachers have used and developed as time has gone on. So we're going to look at each of the focus areas in turn. You might like now to just pause the presentation to consider undertaking the tasks suggested on the slide, considering what you already do to support children experiencing change and what more you might do.